Thank you, sir. All right, moving to higher education, Representative Ballantyne.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, let me start off by thanking you, Chairman, for the privilege and responsibility to be the new chair of the Higher Ed Subcommittee. Also, thank you for giving me two qualified veteran colleagues to work alongside, Representative Gilda Cobb-Hunter and Representative Bill Taylor, and we would not have been able to do this job without our help from our analyst, Julia Foster. Mr. Chairman, I just want to echo what you had said about making historic investments. And I can think of no place greater that needs that than our higher education in our states and universities and colleges throughout our state, particularly the tech schools. It's just good common sense to put money into higher education. And as y'all have heard Speaker Smith say many times, a rising tide lifts all boats. The growth rate of the entire economy increases through the investment in our higher education. First and foremost, we wanted to focus on the access and affordability in higher education for our young students across the state. For the 5th year in a row, we are funding tuition mitigation and putting that in this year's budget, and it's a way that we are making a commitment again to make college more accessible and affordable to everybody across South Carolina. Freezing tuition prices obviously prevents an increased burden on our families and our students throughout the state. Working in concert with the Speaker and the Governor, we're investing in our state's people and not programs by increasing the appropriation this year for tuition mitigation. This year we allocated $69 million in recurring funds for a complete tuition freeze for in-state undergrad students to all public 4-year and 2-year campuses. That's up from $55 million the year before. Let me repeat, that's a $14 million more investment that we put in this year. According to the data from the Federal Reserve, South Carolina ranks 13th in the nation for student debt with an average balance of $36,000. Now, that's actually better than most in our neighboring states, but we know we must do better than that, and we must redouble our efforts to make sure that in-state students are able to get the education that they need in South Carolina. We are literally doubling the investment to our technical colleges. We've increased funding from $7 million to $15 million this year for the technical system throughout our state for their tuition mitigation. Let's talk about scholarships. This is the 8th year in a row, for those of y'all veterans that have been here a while, the 8th year in a row that we are fully funding the lottery scholarships, the Life, the Hope, the Palmetto. We're also doing lottery and tuition assistance as well. Y'all know that the vast majority of our students throughout the state that attend a public college will utilize at least one of those scholarships. Additionally, we're increasing the needs-based grants from $70 million to $80 million, and we're adding an additional $20 million to tuition grants. These grants help the most in need for the college education that they seek. Needs-based grants funding has tripled, and tuition grants have doubled in just the last 3 years. A couple other items we want to talk about in the scholarship area. We're allocating $4.1 million for a college transition program scholarship to provide scholarships to students with disabilities. What we're doing there is we are helping all of those with all abilities. We're also appropriating $500,000 to Francis Marion for the Autistic Academic Program. This program is going to enhance teacher preparation to educate children that are on the autism spectrum disorder. In addition to that, well, and y'all know that's important to me, autism a while ago was back in the 90s, 1 out of 150 children were diagnosed. Most recently today, it's 1 in 44. So this is an investment here to make sure we're focused on that throughout the state. We've allocated $5 million to South Carolina First Scholarship at MUSC. I'll speak briefly about this. This is scholarships provided to students who have a legal residence in the rural and underserved areas of South Carolina. There's also a focus to be first-generation graduate students that will be receiving this. It's a public-private investment, and MUSC is committed to match any state allocation with private or foundation resources. We thank them for doing that. A couple more items I want to talk about: investment in our state assets. Y'all know that we own the university buildings of the colleges and university, and they're huge assets. And if we don't take care of them, those assets turn into liabilities. We have not passed a bond bill in more than 2 decades. That is because the leadership for the speakers previously and the speaker now and chairmans previously and the chairman now. What we've done is appropriated this year almost $177 million to fund renovation, maintenance, and capital needs across the public 4-year and 2-year campuses. An additional $130 million will be funding maintenance, renovation, and capital needs across our technical college system as well. Much of this funding is performed for necessary maintenance on these buildings. So again, that if we don't take care of them now, we'll be paying much more later on. Last thing I'll share is a focus that's been important to Chairman Bannister in Speaker Smith, and that's called working on focusing, taking degrees and making them into careers. So degrees to careers. Access and affordability to higher education not only allows our students to make the best of themselves, it's also how we keep this economy rolling. Y'all heard the number from Chairman earlier. South Carolina is poised to continue to grow successfully as long as we realize where we need to put and focus our investments. We're investing $2 million in Ready SC to recruit and train workers for the new companies and expansions that continue to come in to our state throughout the year. The House, under the leadership of Speaker Smith, is committed to developing the next generation of a highly qualified workforce for the Palmetto State. And as a part of that commitment, we've made historic investments in other programs like SC Wins Scholarship Program. This year, we doubled our investment to $100 million. If you're not familiar, SC Wins provides fundings to the technical colleges in the Critical Workforce Needs Program throughout the state in industries such as manufacturing, healthcare, computer science, information technology, so on and so forth. We've allocated another $20 million for workforce equipment to be split in our technical college system. Again, I want you to see the focus that we have on our technical colleges throughout the state. University of South Carolina has shown their commitment as well to developing the next generation, and they have a Carolina Internship Pilot Program. We're allocating $3.5 million for that so that the state will be working with industries through targeted enhancement and expansion through this program. And last, I'll talk about briefly $3.5 million, again, to the tech schools for the Scholarship Youth and Small Business Grants. Our technical system serves as a national leader in the apprenticeships and the expansion with nearly 1,000 companies participating in this program. Colleagues, it's for this reason I'm excited to report that we have again put an extreme focus on higher education as well we should. Mr. Chairman, that's all I've got.
Thank you, Representative Ballantyne. Any questions? No, no, sir. So the pending question is the adoption of the Higher Ed and Lottery Subcommittee funding recommendations. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.